Hey everyone, I'm Josh.
And I'm Kelly.
And welcome back to Uprooted Faith. Tonight, as you notice, we have a hymnal. So you know what that means? It's another episode of
What the Hymn?
What the Hymn, right?
What the Hymn? What the Hymn?
So we got the United Methodist Hymnal. We're going to talk about some more hymns tonight. Mainly, we're going to focus on Steal Away from Jesus and Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Why those two? You'll find out in a minute. So you may find it funny because I think just a couple weeks ago, we did a What the Hymn with Onward Christian Soldier. Mm-hmm. And I'll go back and look at the views. That's our highest viewed video on our channel is that. I think it's up to like 250, 275 views.
It's over 300.
Which is viral for us.
Yeah.
May not for people that have millions of viewers, but that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You may think we're just cashing in on that, and we're like, hey, we should just do another What the Hymn. But pure coincidence that we decided to do this again.
Yeah, because we'll probably do it once a month.
We will, yeah. I mean, it depends. If this view
but
continues to rack up.
tonight is special.
Yes. So the reason we picked out What the Hymn, it's just coincidence that we had this discussion a couple weeks ago on Onward Christian Soldier. But with this month being February and Black History Month, we wanted to have a topic dedicated to Black History Month and Black history. And we thought that we could talk about the spirituals that are part of the United Methodist Hymnal.
Yeah.
And we'll get talking about what these spirituals are, the background. But I want to do something for Black History Month. But other than that, I feel like, a month isn't enough to celebrate that. So we'll probably have some recurring topics of
Well, because there are also not just spirituals, but there are a lot of other songs in the hymnal that were written by Black composers.
And it is interesting researching this because I'm reminded of the history of slavery that I was taught, but over time I sort of forget some of the facts, and it's good to remember this stuff and continue to remember the struggles and the stuff that went down in the 1800s and the 1900s or 1700s, and even on in today, right?
It's not like we are experts in Black history or spirituals.
Yeah.
But we each did a little bit of research. And we just felt like it was important to talk about it because it's part of our history.
Yep.
It's a big part of our history, and it if we don't remember that part of our history and the struggles that we still have today with racism, we will forget that racism is systemic and we still need to fix that. So we wanted to, shine a little light on a little part of Black history, which is the spiritual.
Yeah. And you dressed accordingly,
I dressed
right?
accordingly.
You had a shirt.
Yes.
So
Drink coffee, love cats, fight racism.
I was trying to figure out why you had a cat on your mug. It makes sense now. I understand now.
Yes,
So there you go.
It's the whole thing. Yeah. And if you are interested in a shirt like this, the company is called Mahogany Mommies.
Mahogany Mommies.
Black woman owned business.
Well, that's awesome.
And that's where I got this shirt. Because I've had more people ask me where I got this shirt than anything I've ever worn. So.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because it's great. It's
so there you
a
go.
great shirt.
I'm sure they have other shirts like that are.
They do. They have other slogans and stuff on them. Yeah.
Okay, so Mahogany
And if
Mommies.
you don't like cats, there's one that's love dogs. If you don't like coffee, there's one that's drink water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But fight racism is always the third.
Yeah. Well, or something.
Or there's other.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's all kinds of stuff they've got on the graphics, but yeah, really cool.
So spiritual. So what's interesting is in the United Methodist Hymnal, which I'm not sure when it was published.
This one came out in
1980.
The 80s, I think.
So, but it has,
We're about due for a new one.
So the spirituals, right? They go back, and we'll get to the date back from like the time of slavery during the 1800s, right? And it's interesting. Once you find these hymns, you'll have more appreciation for them if you ever come across them in church, or if you just come across them in your regular just going around every day.
Well, some are really, really famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everybody can name some, and there are probably some people who don't realize the song they're singing is a spiritual.
Had an origin of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think some people are like, oh, well, that's just a folk song of America. Well, no.
It's deeper than that.
It's spiritual, like This Little Light of Mine.
Yeah.
You know.
So I guess in this United Methodist hymnal, there are 27 spirituals that I could count. There's also a second sort of hymnal that I wasn't aware of that's called The Faith We Sing, and there's 13 spirituals in that
Yeah,
one.
that's kind of like a supplement
A
with
supplement.
more contemporary songs in it. There's also Songs of Zion, which is all songs by African composers. That's another supplement to the hymnal.
Yeah. So let's get into the African spirituals. But before we do that, if you are liking this video or like the content you see, like and subscribe and even share if you think other people that aren't watching this could benefit from this. So we really do enjoy and appreciate your support and what you can do to help get our videos to see more people.
We want to see, we need like a goal of how many subscribers we want to get. You know, if you get 1 million, you get like a platinum plaque from YouTube or something. So
you could put it right there. If you
I
had 1 million
know,
subscribers,
yeah. Well,
right?
I think
We're a
I
couple
can't
years away from
remember.
that.
It's like, you know, for this many, you get this color plaque, and for this many, and so. But we're not in it for the plaque.
Yeah. So let's start with African spirituals. So as I mentioned, I alluded to, it was created during the time of slavery in the United States. So at the time, the slave owners taught Christianity to the slaves.
Their brand.
They taught the Bible, and it was sort of a way to control them.
Their
right?
the parts of the Bible that they wanted to teach them about. You know,
so for
obeying
instance,
your master.
Yeah, so I say Ephesians 6:5 basically says slaves need to be obedient to those who are your masters, right? So they taught the Bible as a way to control them, to put fear into them, and to make them less likely to escape, right? However, what happened was the opposite, because some of these Africans that were slaves, they found more hope in the Bible stories, because as they read through them and had discussions with each other, they found that the Bible is a list of stories about people in the margins, right?
Right.
That are fighting oppression, right? And that's much like us. Also, the time they weren't as another way to control the African Americans. They weren't taught to read, right? So how do you continue to learn or provide this information?
I think it was illegal.
Yeah, it was illegal at the time.
I think it was illegal to teach a slave to read.
Yeah.
Some people did.
Yeah.
Just on the down low, but yeah.
So in order to help teach others and provide hope to other people, they created these spirituals as sort of a song, as a way to help remember the teachings and then teach others that weren't part of that, right? I did find in my research, there was a quote, someone had coined the phrase, voice of the unwritten self for these spirituals, which basically means it was the authentic voice of these African Americans who were denied the ability to write down and preserve their thoughts in physical documents, so they passed them down by ways of singing, sort of like the oral traditions from the prehistoric times or the times before the written word, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just passing them down through discussions. And I think you had something about working together on a job.
Yeah. So they weren't just like, oh, let's just have a sing along, kids. It was there was so much meaning in them, and sometimes they were used to help kind of like a chain gang. If there was a chain gang, it would help to coordinate their movements to do it in the rhythm of a song. But at the same time, they could kind of communicate in code, so it sounded like just Bible verses or stuff from the Bible, but it often had another meaning that the people who were over the slaves wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But it was a way to encourage each other.
Encourage and lift up, yeah. So that's to keep them hopeful. And we'll get to these with our two spirituals. It does provide some hope to look forward to for the future, right? And also it had some double meanings besides just that, but with working with the Underground Railroad and trying to provide a means to escape, some of these were also coded to be able to use to help people prepare for potential escaping. I did read somewhere too in this research that there were some of the slave owners, they tried to downplay the importance of the spirituals and say, oh, these spirituals are silly, you guys should be singing them, because it's sort of funny because they're trying to teach what is the word, fire and brimstone about slaves obeying your masters, and then the enslaved people are now singing uplifting songs that they're finding in the Bible. It's like, no, you that's silly. You shouldn't be singing that, right?
But I think there's also another part to that there a lot of them were work songs, and so
Yeah,
they
that's
were
true. That's true.
slower, and and some of them are very poignant and very sad, and yeah, so they weren't like some of the spirituals that are more famous. We white people like to sing them at a higher tempo.
Yeah.
We want to be like woo, and we may not be respecting the origins of them. It's not that we can't sing spirituals. It's just that whenever we sing something from a culture that is not our own, we have to be very respectful and understand how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So I have been called out on playing spirituals too fast. And that's fair. I want to know that. That it's not supposed to be at a lively tempo.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that steady work tempo. It's also, it's not supposed to be, a lot of them, they do have that darkness to them, rightfully so. And, we shouldn't try to, I don't know, jazz it up. No, that's not the right word, because jazz kind of came out of the spirituals, but you know what I mean.
There's a lot of history behind the spirituals, and then how they moved into the modern music movement, right? Like you said, jazz and everything else.
Yeah, and spirituals got really popular too after the abolition of slavery. They kind of spread, and people from the margins, people who were oppressed, kind of latched onto them because they got it.
Yeah. I think they're also used pretty, they're used, I'm not going to use the right term, they're also used during the civil rights movements, right? Of the 1960s, they probably used these songs to help continue to uplift.
And then more were written, for that.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the hymns in the hymnal is "Lift Every Voice and Sing."
Yes, I was thinking about
which
that
is
one,
sometimes called the Black National Anthem. I think that's a beautiful song. It is really the words, the music itself is really beautiful, but the words are really beautiful too.
Yeah, well, that's the background in spirituals.
Oh, there's also a Duke Ellington in there.
Oh, there is?
Yes.
I didn't realize we had Duke
There's
Ellington.
There's a Duke Ellington song. It's called "Come Sunday."
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Very jazzy.
Very jazzy.
It is. I like it.
So we're going to unpack two different hymns, or two different spirituals that are in United Methodist Hymnal: "Steal Away the Jesus" and "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." And like Kelly said, each one of us picked one, and we'll start with Kelly's choice, and you're going to be "Steal Away the Jesus."
Yeah.
And if you're following us in your United Methodist Hymnal, if you have it, it is hymn number 704. Or you can just YouTube it if you want to listen to it. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever heard this song before. I bet if I YouTubed it, I may recognize the...
Steal away, steal away, steal away to Jesus. Never heard it?
I don't. No, it's not ringing a bell at all. So.
And then the last line is steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here. So it's attributed to a man named Wallace Willis, and it is somewhat based on 1 Corinthians 15, 51, 52, where it talks about the trumpet will sound. Because it has, where is it? Anyway, it kind of reflects that. He calls me by the thunder.
Yeah,
the trumpet sound. Yeah, the trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. And it's sung slowly, and it sounds kind of dark and sad because it is. But there is hope in the lyrics too. And I think that's the interesting thing too with spirituals is that a lot of spirituals talk about heaven and going to heaven.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always mean heaven. Sometimes, it means going somewhere else. But that hope of heaven, where there is no oppression.
Yeah.
And there's another spiritual, I got shoes, and it talks about, when I get to heaven, I'm going to dance all over heaven. And and one of the lines is, everybody talking about heaven ain't going there.
What?
Because a lot of times they didn't get shoes.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I read that too, and I know that song, and I never put two and two together that was the significance of. I was like, why do they care about wearing shoes in heaven? But there's it's light bulb moment. Some of them didn't wear shoes, so that's what they look forward to. Hey, in heaven.
Yeah, in heaven everybody gets
shoes, right?
Everybody has shoes. Yeah. And I'm going to dance all over heaven, because I'm going to be happy to be there and to be out of this life as a slave. So and steal away, of course, means to leave quietly without being noticed. And slaves had to travel at night if they were escaping. And so there's talking there about thunder and lightning, and that I ain't got long to stay here, could mean I'm going to heaven, or it could mean I'm escaping.
Yeah.
So
with heaven, I'll get to this in mind, but I was reading, so heaven, it could be just the looking forward to, after this oppression, at least I have paradise to go in heaven. It could mean escaping to the north, free, being heaven. Another interpretation I read that someone had given, a possible interpretation, was that heaven could mean, and let me make sure I got the phrasing right. Of course, it would be on my other page. Heaven could mean returning to the African continent. So at the time, people believed that once following death, the individual would return to the homeland. So sort of like a reincarnation to Africa. So heaven could be, heaven above, or the Lord's heaven, or whatever you want to call it. It could be going north, or it could be returning to Africa as a, once you did die.
Yeah.
There's another interpretation of it I found interesting that I didn't consider.
Yeah.
So that's Steal Away to Jesus. So the one I did was actually the song right before it. I didn't pick this out knowing that it was right before, but it's Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, and it is hymn 703 in the UMC Hymnal, and you can also YouTube this one.
Oh yeah, this one's a popular one.
This one I like. My favorite rendition is the one that Raffi sings. Do you know Raffi?
Yes.
Yes. So he does my kids used to listen to Raffi all the time when they were younger, and this is one that came on, and it is the way he sings it, and he has someone else has a deep baritone voice that sings the swing low, and it's really deep, and my kids tried to mimic it, and it's hilarious. But Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. So the origin, it seems like there are two different potential origin stories, and I'll go through both. The first one comes from a guy by the name of John Wesley Work II, and he is one of the first editors and compilers of spirituals, I think, in the 1970s and 1980s. And he describes basically a young mother who is about to be sold to the South and separated from her infant daughter, and she had planned to kill herself and her baby to avoid dying as slaves. And what he says in a book called The Folk Song of the American Negro, I guess I'll just quote this. It says, an old mammy, seeing terrible expression on her face and hearing these words, read her intentions. In love, she laid her dear old hand upon the shoulder of the distressed mother and said, "Don't you do it, honey. Wait, let the chariot of the Lord swing low, and let me take one of the Lord's scrolls and read it to you." Then making a motion as reaching for something and rolling it, she read, "God's got great work for this baby to do. She's going to stand before kings and queens. Don't you do it, honey." The mother was so impressed with the words that she gave up her plan to kill herself and allowed herself to be taken off down to the Mississippi, leaving her baby behind. So that is the background. Now, it's unclear if that has any historical basis or if it is based off some truths and some elaborations. We never know. But that is the one interpretation of, maybe someone hearing the words, or maybe something about, the chariot's going to swing low. So maybe I should have, that's the first interpretation. The second origin story basically says that it attributes it to Wallace Willis, who also wrote your song. And they said that he worked at a school, and the headmaster overheard him singing it one day and sent it in to be published, and that's where it came from. So I'm not sure if Wallace Willis heard this story along, I don't know, but those are two different origin stories. But essentially it's connected to 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, which is the story of Elijah and Elisha, and basically how the chariot swooped low to pick up Elijah and take him to heaven.
And he was never seen again.
Never seen again. So that's swing low, sweet chariot, coming forward to carry me home. Basically a reference to that story of Elijah being swept up to heaven. So it is interesting that the tune oscillates between, I think, two different octaves, which sung slowly as you sing it, sort of resembles the motion of swinging a chariot swinging in a way. Now, the chariot in this story could refer to a double meaning of the vehicle used to transport tobacco within the Carolinas, is the thought. That could be something that maybe they used to escape out hiding in a chariot. And then as heaven, we already talked about heaven referring to those three different places that are in your song. But then as you go to like the verses or the stanzas, right? The first stanza is, I looked over heaven and what did I see? Or yeah, what did I say?
Jordan
heaven?
River, you said heaven.
I have heaven in my mind.
I looked over
apparently.
Jordan.
I
as
looked
in the
over
river.
Jordan, and what did I see? Let's see.
A band of angels.
A band of angels, there we go, come after me. So basically the thought is River Jordan, the Israelites escaped slavery to Egypt, or from Egypt to the Promised Land by going through the Jordan River. So that sort of gives hope of people being oppressed, escaping from slavery. So that parallels the journey of an enslaved African American escaping to the north and having to go through the terrain into the rivers to get there, right? And then the band of angels could refer to like the people associated with Underground Railroad, like Harriet Tubman. The other thing, the second stanza goes into, if you get there before I do, tell all my friends I'm coming home too. That just talks about, a journey into a great meeting, right? Or make great meeting, like either in north or in heaven. Like we'll see you again in heaven, right? But it's interesting that in your song and mine, right? And I think in all the other spirituals, they're sort of gloomy, but they're uplifting. And I think it sort of conveys that despite all the toils and the troubles they go through on earth, they could, even if they can't escape north because they continue to be oppressed, they could always find a path that will lead to heaven, right? They have hope in heaven in the end, right? So hopefully they can escape the slavery, but if they can't, there's still hope.
Yeah.
That they'll be able to escape this oppression with heaven. And there's 21 other spirituals in the United Methodist Hymnal. So if there's any other spirituals that you're aware of that you like to listen to or that inspired you, put in the comments. Let us know what sort of songs you like to listen to or what you've enjoyed from the hymnal.
Don't forget to subscribe.
That's right.
And like. See ya.
Bye.